Hello, denizens. Welcome to part 2 of my popular War of the Woke series. Well, it was popular and now it's a series because I've now just made a part 2, this one. As the former network executive reaction, I, along with many of you, are constantly wondering, how did we get here? How did newspapers, magazines, online and off, comic books, businesses seemingly get woked so quickly like a Nazi blitzkrieg? Why do social justice warriors seem to have such an outsized influence? In my first video, I pulled together a bunch of research mixed in with personal thoughts, experiences, and came to the conclusion that basically we've given up on teaching practical things like how to build things, music, and financial literacy. Heck, even English to our kids. So to fill that vacuum, this new woke nonsense was a perfect fit as it sounded virtuous. And the school boards decided that parents like us did not know what we were doing. They were not happy with the way we were raising our children, so the only solution was social engineering, and also not telling us that they were doing it. That was the core of my thesis in the first video. I do make a distinction between old woke and the weaponized new woke. A quick addendum to my first video. We have a fantastic school here in Toronto called the Etobicoke School of Arts, where kids actually had to audition to get in. My daughter went there. It was exciting, inspiring, and filled with such a diverse student body that it would have made an intersectionalist weep. Anyway, the Toronto District School Board, in its infinite wisdom, has removed auditions from the most successful school in their system. It's now a lottery because, well, you know, losing an audition caused the parents of probably only one talentless child to go ballistic all over the TDSB, though this does fit the TDSB's ideology. What it doesn't take into account is that we all have our own success journeys. Before, if you didn't make it into the school, well, it's because you weren't good enough. Yet, now, if you don't make it in, you are unlucky. This is actually more harmful. The TDSB is teaching children that hard work doesn't count, that perseverance doesn't count, luck counts. But War of the Woke Part 1 did not answer the burning question of how did these intellectual termites infest things so quickly, primarily the entertainment industry, which is what I'm interested in. The answer came in a recent interview I saw featuring Andrew Sullivan on the YouTube show Triggernometry, which I'll link below. It's a very good show. He said something that blew my mind, and I wanted to convey it to you. Now, I'm going to be paraphrasing, extrapolating, and adding my own meandering thoughts here, so forgive me. Andrew answered the question, how did this snowflake infestation manifest so quickly? Very simply, social media. But I'm going to go back briefly further to the invention of the internet. Websites became essential, and suddenly things like SEO, search engine optimization, became a thing. Were existing employees and companies going to do this? No. One, because they were busy doing useful things. And two, they didn't know what the fuck it was. And three, the computer skills of these same employees were comically dismal. So who was going to do this SEO stuff? Young people, of course, newly graduated from indoctrination college. That would be wave one, starting in the aughts. That was the humorless wave I outlined in a previous video. Then came social media applications, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. I'm not including Facebook because, its only real use is to spread medical disinformation and organize 50th anniversary high school reunions. Around the 2015s, panicked, rich, somnambulant boomers running their failing big media companies were completely out of their depths in trying to solve the online monetization challenges. Who did they hire? Of course, tons more of the newly indoctrinated. But the schools had become even worse since the SEO days. The diversity, equity, inclusion religion had taken hold. Merit was now a 4-letter word. Debate was hate. Non-conforming ideas made you unmutual. These children wanted their business environment to feel like their cozy, cosseted, bubble-wrapped campuses. The worthless senior executives who let these parasites run rampant without checks and balances because, that was colonialist power infringement or something. Now, they cowered at these new hires' activism, seemingly paralyzed from doing anything about it, lest a Twitter storm was unleashed in an effort to cancel them. This was the point Andrew was making. Social media was the stargate that let the alien invaders in. Gormless boomers' computer illiteracy handed their businesses over to these compromised, hateful, truculent, and transigent employees. That is why you have such a hateful bunch running the Star Wars Twitter account. Adults abdicated their responsibility. Never in the history of Hollywood would a studio go after and insult its audience. No problem with this crew because the audience is wrong. We're wrong, especially fans with any lingering hope of enjoying something that resembled previous efforts that gave them joy. Worse, we were the enemy. Well-established properties had to be updated to reflect modern sensibilities, even if that represented a statistical fantasy in of itself. If this sounds very much like Mao's Great Leap Forward, you wouldn't be far wrong. Mobs with sleeve tattoos holding aloft little red books of pronouns that outline punishment for wrongthink, contrary ideas, that words were violence, cross looks a dagger, changing the world through critical theory. And their ultimate weapon? Calling an aging white liberal a racist. Suddenly, they could get you to do whatever they wanted you to do. Andrew backs up his position with his personal experience as an editor at a major publication. What do you think about Andrew's hypothesis? The good news is, if there is any, is that the business case for all this ultra-woke great leap forward has been a disaster. The only solution I can conceive of is to fire the lot of them. Get them out of Hollywood, the comic book industry, the computer industry, everywhere. Let them create their own shit and see if they can compete on the open market. So far, they have been a disaster for existing IPs, and the original projects they have created have tanked miserably. The center-left are being pushed into the arms of the right as this lunatic fringe opts for a scorched earth policy. The extremism progressives are too cowardly to deal with will only end in the regression of the rights we fought for and won temporarily. At the same time, the battle is not about the advancement of failed critical theory, but of corporate globalization and governments that have handed over our countries to the elite. Everything else I've talked about is really a distraction. But if we are selling our souls to these clandestine sovereign entities, well, we might as well get good entertainment in the exchange, eh? Till next time, denizens, be seeing you.